Hi viewers, this is Seth Salutations coming to another reading. I'll be continuing with the reading I read last week, which was from a story that I wrote called Splash. And here it goes. He sighed as he gave into her approaches yet again. He continued, "Meet me at your door at 12. We will catch a quick cup of coffee." "And you heard me. I said quick." He heard her giggling softly through the phone. And as she breathed softly, she said, "Okay, Bri baby, I'll be there ready to go, hon." He didn't even say bye as he told the driver to leave him at the corner of 50th and Broadway, please. The yellow taxi drove off the busy subway, the busy street, onto a less busy street. She looked at her face through the window, picked some lipstick off her front tooth. Then she put her hand into the bag at her right and took out a piece of big red gum. She closed her eyes and chewed gently. The cinnamon took over her mouth, and she felt like a jitterbug inside. She opened her eyes and looked at the window, as the world flew by. The cab suddenly braked forward, and Angela popped out of her seat, then back again. She reminisced about the time that one of her boyfriends and she took a cab and ended up nearly getting right on top of each other in the cab. But he wasn't there now. All she had was her memories of his soft breath. The cab driver asked if she was a native New Yorker, and she let her memories... "Oh, no, but I have lived here for around 3 years now after my graduation from Brooklyn College. Originally, I'm from Nebraska." "Not much of an accent out for an Alabama girl." "Oh, well, I lost it while I've been here." He nodded into the mirror and led her off to her thoughts again. And the car stopped as Brian opened the door and got out onto the sidewalk. She was standing under the canopy with her pink scarf covering her neck, and yellow heels holding her up. She gave him her arm and said, "Well, hello, darling." He smiled, not making the moment dissatisfying for her. They walked arm in arm down Park Avenue. They talked, well, mostly she did, actually, about how he looked so good and that he really looks better in person than on TV, in her opinion. He said he did not have much time and was looking forward to a warm cup of coffee at the Starbucks on the corner. She agreed, and they walked across the street. He put his glasses on to cover his distinct face from the people in the crowded store. His picture covered one wall. It was an ad for Fiji water that was emphasizing his Speedo as he jumped into the water on a deserted beach meant to look like Fiji. But it was really shot just somewhere at a beachfront in Martha's Vineyard. He got online and turned around to look into Chloe's eyes. Her bright smile, her glittering eyes. Then he turned around to order his coffee, trying not to look, sound, or in any way pretend to be the man plastered on the wall to his right. He gave the cashier a 20 and left to go sit down. Their past was nothing to be proud of. It was something that goes like this. Drunken man walks up to the dark bar, whispers into her ear. They hold hands and walk off. Next morning, he doesn't remember anything, but she claims it was the best night of her life. Their lives were full of colors, which were probably how they end up in bed each night, confused of how they got there. She didn't have a past to be proud of, or not be proud of. Men were just not her thing right now. Trying to get used to life was her thing. She wished some man would just carry her away, but that wasn't going to happen anytime soon. She remembers everything too vividly that it hurts to wake up. She wishes she could just call some night the best one of her life. The colorful life didn't attract her because she was always stuck in black and white. At the computer, of course, desperation overwhelmed Angela, and sitting at her desk on this sunny day was not the least bit comforting. She needed something to do. Mindlessly signing onto her Gmail, her Facebook, her cell phone close at hand, checking out the latest FMLs, opening Tetris and getting lost in a world of stacking colored blocks. The door opens, but Angela, mindlessly distant from the rest of the world, doesn't realize her roommate, Chloe, went the other way. towards her manicure. Brian was glad to get rid of her, but knew he would be seeing her very soon. He strolled mindlessly, left foot, right foot, hiding behind his glasses. He plugs his ears in with black headphones, and loses himself to loud heartbeats penetrating his eardrums. He's going through an 80s phase, currently has Meatloaf on shuffle. The 8-minute song would surely bring him there smoothly and without haste. As his sick guitar starts to seizure in his ears, he stopped at a newsstand and picked up a paper and a pack of spearmint, Tic Tacs, unsure of if the occasion called for a Kit Kat or not. He walked on, and soon he got two. Clicking around, now watching a YouTube video of a ticklish puppy, Angela stopped herself. She took her steady fingers off the keyboard and got out of the chair, walked over to the couch. A cold wind suddenly overcame her body, and she was shivering. So cold she had to get a blanket and slippers and a bathrobe. So cold, oh, it was so cold in here, she thought. But what to do? Making use of time was so hard when Angela felt so useless. The get a job alarm clock was ringing in her head. So loud she couldn't think. So loud that she was forced back onto the computer, going to make up for the second time today. Behind him stands a man, the director, moving his hands around in big round shapes. Brian has met the same person over 30 times. He had to stop himself soon before he went crazy. This was not the life he wanted. Advertising, what was it this time? Orbit Gum? He had no idea how he got there. To this place in his life where he was being manipulated by the people around him. His manager, Oprah, the directors, the pool of women, cameras flashing. He found himself standing on a poolside in the studio. As the camera started playing, jumping into the monster. She knew all the websites she could have had profiles on resumes, but she had always been against them, due to convenience, laziness, something better to do. Now is my time to shine, she thought, as she entered the monster. And at her most unconfident moment, Angela found herself writing up a storm about her past. From the floral shop, to the Krusty Kreme, to the Cupcake House. She reread everything, from her work experience to her education. This isn't me, she thought. This isn't me at all. But it was her, and that was scary in itself. Her Facebook profile picture was uploaded as her monster profile. A shot of her in LA 4 years ago, before the saggy eye syndrome took all her beauty away. She submitted herself to the monster and shut down. The pool, after 42 laps, was nothing. And hey, he thought, I'm getting a good workout. Brian didn't even realize this as he took another mouthful of chlorine-filled water. The cameras came from all directions, under the water, over the water, behind him, in front of him. Mr. Center of Attention. But he didn't want that, already realizing how his image had been destroyed. Chloe and he were probably seen in the streets holding hands, nothing stopped from exposure. Wishing he was back home in Homer, Alaska. Soon he would be out of here, done smiling for the day. Done shooting, ready to shoot himself. He needs a cup of... What's on television, she thought? Nothing. What's up in Lives of Patch and Kayla? Or how about Jack and Jennifer? She had to get lost in something, because this reality was way worse than she expected. Needed a getaway, far from this place. Top hat was on, with Fred Astaire getting lost in a dance with Ginger Rogers. Angela wished she could have had her own Astaire, someone who would call her his Ginger. But this only brought her to tears on her pillow. Oh, how she needed a cup of... The coffee shop was his place of comfort. Between Chloe and a day that would not be forgotten, he made time. Didn't really have the precious time to get to the coffee shop. The lights flickered outside as the humidity grabbed him into the coffee shop. A woman behind the counter caught his face. How you coming along, Bri? Fine yourself. He took a seat inside. Hopefully, Chloe wouldn't find him here.